Good evening, campaigners. Glad to have you here. I've gone through about 5 different things I was going to do today, and all of them didn't work out. So what we're going to do today is show the mundanity of cutting brick after brick after brick after brick. I'm going to pull the Proxxon out here in a minute. That's the hot wire cutter table. It is not necessarily the one I'd recommend, but it's high on the list. It's very good. And I'm going to cut a bunch of bricks. I was going to change out the wire to it, but I actually can't find my other wire. So that'll be a different thing. Coincidentally, I was already thinking of doing that, and this morning, Gerard Boom on his channel about shifting lands, he makes some of the wood additions that help to make the Proxxon work better. He actually put out a video this morning specifically about changing out the wire and why you might want to and why you might not want to. So give him a look. I didn't think to put the link in the bio. I will probably put it in a pinned comment after. If I don't, maybe remind me. Preferably remind me on my Discord. Please go check out my Discord. Information about the Discord and such should be down below. I may need to change a couple things down there, but if it's not down below, it will be soon. So the easiest way to reach me is Discord. I've also got Instagram I sometimes post on, and a Facebook I sometimes post on, but the best way to reach me is Discord. All right, let's get to it. I'm going to grab 2 different things. I'm going to be making tonight more and more bricks, because I always need bricks and I always need tiles. I'm also possibly going to be making some wood. If I make wood, which I don't typically like foam wood, but I don't have any what I call stale lumber, which would be the coffee stirrer size sticks. I'm actually out of those. I've got the ice cream size sticks and the tongue depressor size sticks, so I'm going to be making foam bricks, foam tile, and possibly foam wood. If I make foam wood, I will be texturing it with little wood grain lines. Those will be textured in with either my steel wire brush that you've seen in previous videos, because that gets the smaller grain, but I can also use this type of hot tool here that's the metal rod kind, and it's got a little divot right here, and it makes 2 lines at a time, and so it can make some wood grain as well. But let me cut them before I go making them. So let me do that. I don't know if anybody's here. Somebody popped in and disappeared again. That's okay. All right. Anybody who's ever used one of these Proxxon tools knows that the what's this thing called? Fence. The fence that comes with it's a little wonky. So I have taped mine in place, and I have built an entire different fence using plastic bricks, and that gets me a good 90-degree angle to cut from. I don't know if you can see that, but that's going here. I keep my wire loose when it's not in, just so it causes less wear and tear. So I'm going to remove this, because we'll be moving it around. I got to plug in my pedal and readjust my wire. So give me just a minute and we'll get to that. I typically use this now. You'll notice it's set just to miss the wire in a vertical position. I use this to push things across, and you'll see me using that later when I'm cutting those bricks. All right. Let's do the wire part first. Oops, that's tighten, righty-tighty. They didn't change it on me or anything. Okay, so we're going to take that, put some tension on that. Okay, that should be good to go. Definitely don't want this cutting that small. I don't know what I was shaving last time, or if I just set this here. So let's move that back. I am not going to get into how I made this fence on here at all. I don't think I'm even going to put out a video on that on the channel. There are people that have done that. There are many videos about that, and people that have done it way better than me, or explained it way better than I could. Go ahead and down there, get that plugged in. Don't need the hot glue on, so I'm going to unplug that. Make sure that's on. Should have power. Yep. All right. So get that. Put it around the cord so I don't lose it. Slide that down to the ground. Okay, should be good to go. Got a couple things to move out of my way here. switch cameras for you here. You see a little better what I'm doing. Right now, I think that this is probably the best view because that's looking straight down at what I'm doing. Let me get that kind of centered for you. Nope, that glare is horrible. Let's switch to the other one. Okay. Back a little. Sorry about the woozy cam there as I move it around, but it is what it is. All right, and you should be able to see what I'm going to be doing here. What I'm really wanting to do today is make some bases for dungeon stackers. Dungeon stackers are those things where you take 3 stairs and they sit like this and they fit together. You can take them and flip them over and put them together and it makes a little block. So those need to be 3 inches wide for the ones I'm doing. You can do them any size you want. Mine are going to be 3 inches wide and then a 2-inch wide piece and a 1-inch wide. I've already got a bunch of 3-inch square blanks printed. Cut is the word I mean, not printed. And so I've got rather a lot of these. And what I'm going to be doing is cutting a bunch of these down from 3 inches. I'm going to be taking 1 inch off, and that will allow me to have, I can take the 1 inch and put it on top of the 2 inch, and I glue the 2 inch to a 3 inch. So what I'm going to do is about, I don't know how many, a bunch of these right now. I'm going to be cutting down by 1 inch. After that, I'll be texturing them and then gluing them together. Some of that may or may not be done tonight. Do all of these. Not everything in this box, I mean all of these stacks. So, well, I had somebody for a while and it looks like they ran off. Oh well, that happens. So, anybody's got any questions or anything like that, let me know. And when I remember in a minute, when I've got some people watching, I will let them know. Some thanks to some of my patrons and such. I have created sort of a new graphic for use on my little system here. We'll see how that works out. Should work pretty easily. I don't have any question it's going to do what it needs to do. Let's set these aside. Trash can down. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to find a ruler. And I want to measure exactly 1 inch over. This is a bad one for that. Let's use this scale instead. And if I'm not wrong, that's exactly 1 inch wide. It is. So we're going to take that, butt it against the wire, and then we're going to take the fence and butt it against that. And that should give me exactly the width I need. I'll push that into place, and then I've got this tape to hold it. Oh, that's not supposed to be that one. It's supposed to be that one. That should allow you to see better without the squirrely blinking of the screen. Tension on that. All right, and the rest of this is pretty straightforward and simple. And we got 2 viewers. How you doing? Glad to see you. Oh, you can't see me over there. Glad to see you. Lost my pedal. There we go. Okay. We'll try this at, it says as 1 to 6 for settings. So I'm going to set that at about a 3. That's about a 3.5 would be the midpoint. Test that first, see if that's too much or too little. Actually, 3 inches. That looks weird, but okay. Yeah, so that seems like that's just about the perfect temperature. So we're going to take that, set this over here. Now let's test and see how accurate I got it. Take the two 1-inch pieces, put them against each other, put them on the 2-inch. Hey, look at that. It's almost like I designed it that way. Okay, I'm going to put all the 1 inches there and all the 2s here. Let's move the mouse. Now, when you do this, you're going to want a breather or a well-ventilated area or both. I have a well-ventilated area with a fan blowing across, so I am not worried about it. None of the smoke is hitting me in the face or anything. There's very little smoke when you get it set correctly, so one after the other. Sort of repetitiveness. If anybody has any questions about anything I do about crafting, go ahead and ask, and I will be happy to answer. Let me get about 5 or 10 more of these cut, and I will toss up my thanks for my patrons there. Yeah, I'm going to be cutting a bunch of these steps, and then after that, I'm going to be cutting a bunch of bricks. So, expect a lot of this. May move the camera view around here and there so it doesn't get too incredibly boring. Now, the first set of these stackers that I did, I thought I got them accurate, and I cut them by hand, and I had to make so many little tweaks and modifications because I had messed them up so bad. So this batch should be a lot better. Now, some people are going to notice I'm not putting the little grid marks on here for various steps and such, and I do not play with a grid when I'm running my game. So, if you need to see these gridded, I'm not sure what I can tell you because I'm not going to do that. All right, let's go ahead and toss that up here. These are my patrons, and many thanks to them. They really keep me motivated. It makes me feel good that people are paying attention to me enough to want to see it over and over again. My newest patron is Digital Calibrator. The other two have been here with me a long time, but DC's been helping me with some stuff. So if you can hear me, that's you can thank DC for that. She came over here one day and helped me with all of my audio settings, and we tweaked a bunch of stuff. So hopefully that's coming through loud and clear. Yes, I am off grid, Hacksaw, very much. So yeah, I don't do the grid too much. I play with little 6-inch rulers and sometimes even with marked sticks that just have a mark every 1 inch. So I tend to I play different. D&D is not my scale anyway. D&D tends to be 1/60th scale. It doesn't look that way when you look at their minis and all of that, but their grid, they play 1 inch is 5 feet. So for those of you who missed it, Hacksaw is also Patrick Walther. I just never know which one you want me to put in the credits. So what was I saying? D&D is 1/60th, and I play at 1/48. The 1/60th scale means 1 square inch is 5 feet by 5 feet, or 25 square feet in scale. That's a little smaller than I play. I play 1/48 scale, which is 4 to the foot, 4 feet to the inch. It's a very common architectural scale, and it is also the same as what model railroaders call O gauge or 0 gauge. And I tend to feel that that's a little more realistic for the sizes of the buildings I'm going to. I recently did a whole deep dive into sizes and scales, and I realized that all of the houses I've been building are a little bit smaller than medieval huts would have actually been. Huts and peasantry houses and serf houses and all of that would have actually been larger than I build. And so I will be adjusting my scale for that as we go. I tend to make my windows 1 inch by 1 inch, and it was almost unheard of to have a 4 foot by 4 foot window. But I don't think I'm going to scale that down because it gets super fiddly, and it it just doesn't look right. Scale does not necessarily look correct when you put it on the table. So I think I'm going to stick with my 1 foot by 1 foot windows. I mean 4 foot by 4 foot windows, and just hope nobody complains too much. These windows aren't the right scale, yep, but your figure can fit through it if you need to. Are you playing a rogue or not? Well, yeah. You want to be able to sneak in the window? Well, yeah. Then, okay. I have these little imagined conversations in my head. This is not a conversation that's ever actually happened to me with one of my players. I make stuff up as I go along. So, the Proxon comes very highly recommended by many people. I recommend it, but I wouldn't say I highly recommend it. And there is an alternative. If you really, that's a whole political situation with people that do crafting. If you want to hear my actual feelings on which cutter to get, grab me on the Discord. But as this one goes, I think I got a lemon because I had about 6 things I had to change right off the bat when I got this. In order to even just make it work, I had to open it up and reconnect the wire. And I just think I got the one weird one. Once it's up and running, as it is now, it tends to trug along pretty good, except for, as I already mentioned, I break the wires a lot. And I don't know if I'm heavy-handed, or the wire's too thin, or I have it set too high, or too low, or too what. So, I don't know. I just get by and make do and get by as best I can. Alright. But I got to go through all of the warnings for this. Really? Again, ventilated area. Or fan, breather mask, whichever. Also, by the way, it's called a hot wire cutter for a reason. The wire gets very, 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 very hot. I have burned myself on it a couple of times. It leaves a nasty little line across you. It's not fun. It's not fun. So be careful of the heat. There's also, I have 3 different foams that I cut for different things like this. 4. EVA, this will not put out the heat to get through EVA foam regularly. Don't cut. That's your floor mat foam. That's the stuff I was using last week. This won't cut that. It just won't get through it. But you can use heat on EVA, just this wire doesn't get hot enough. It works on this. This is the XPS. It works on the EPS, which is the stuff with the little bubbles in it. That's the stuff people normally call styrofoam, which isn't, but close enough. The white packaging foam, and it works great on both of those. There's also the other kind of foam that's like a wall foam and it comes with foil on both sides. That's PUR. That's polyurethane foam. The heat won't even work on it. It doesn't cut with heat. Plus, it can, if you really get it hot, put out fumes that are nasty, 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 nasty. So do not cut the PUR foam on this. There's also one called PIR. I've never had a chance to work with it. I can't find any around here. I know that several people, like Encounter Terrain, work with it all the time. But I can't find it. But from what I've heard, you will absolutely smoke yourself out badly, badly, like go to the hospital badly if you use it with heat. And so, yeah, don't. So stick with your XPS foam. That's your basic foam insulation. In the United States, it comes in a blue, this teal blue, and a pink. In other countries, it comes in a yellow, a brighter blue, black, several others. But that's XPS. It stands for extruded polystyrene. That's the smooth stuff with no little beads in it. And it cuts like butter with a hot wire. And as I said, if you've got it set to the right heat, you'll get almost no fumes, but still, be careful. Wear a breather if you feel uncomfortable about it, etc. And don't burn yourself. It's a hot wire. They call it hot for a reason. The Proxon does not come with, I would call it a foot pedal, but they call it, I believe, a foot switch. And it does not come with that. Absolutely get yourself one. If you're going to use one for anything, any great amount of things, like cutting a butt ton of bricks or whatever, you're definitely going to want that floor piece to hold it. So that way you never have to worry about accidentally leaving it on, because once you move away, it turns off. And it comes on when you need it. You don't have to worry about hitting this little switch right here. You can just leave this switch on and use the foot pedal to do the power up, power down. All right, that is all of those cut. Let me put those in a separate box, which I don't have readily available, so let me put those in a separate stack. And then I've got to go find some other XPS and grab that for use in making bricks and or boards. So these are all 2-inch by 3-inch. And these are all 1-inch by 3-inch. And I'm going to need a separate box for those, I can already tell. Let me go grab one. Lost where my mouse goes. There it is. All right. You know what? I'm going to use the box I was making last week. So I was cutting this last week. I got to trim it a little. And then I'm going to use it as a storage for those. So let me grab a knife like that one. Trim off any excess right there in the corner. Really not any this way, but one little piece. I did a really good job with that last week. Barely even need any trimming up. So that just bashed the mic with the box there. Okay. In case you're wondering how many this is 25. Started off with 25 3x3s. Now I have 25 2x3s and 25 1x3s. For those of you with OCD, welcome to my world. We will take these and stack them in here carefully. I could just pile them in, they'd fit, but no, I can't do that. I got to stack everything nice and neat. Sorry if you can't hear me. I keep moving away from the mic. I apologize for that. I can talk a little louder if I need to. Yep, there you go. The Hercules is the competitor. I wasn't going to say it, but since you brought it up, the Hercules is the competitor to the Proxxon. It is blue instead of green, and it does come with its own foot pedal. Now, the Proxxon's foot pedal is generic. Like, I could use the Proxxon foot pedal with any of my other electrical tools because it fits the same socket. But the Hercules does come with a foot pedal and is actually less expensive than the Proxxon, but its foot pedal only works with the Hercules. It's got a specialized plug. But from what I understand, they both work great. This just will not stay. My OCD is dying here. Okay, so I'll take that off to the side. And for bricks, I tend to use I just chop up offcuts. So I think I'm going to do that, but I will start with, sometimes this surface isn't good to use, so I've shaved that off. So what I'll do is sometimes flip that over and it makes like a nice smooth surface to work from. I can imprint bricks or whatever into this, but we'll set that off to the side for now. All these little shaved off pieces. Oh, and one good thing about the Proxxon and the Hercules and all the other wire cutters, no squeaking noise. I personally don't mind the squeak, but some people absolutely can't stand it. What are these? Oh, bases. Look at me. Okay, so I think I will just grab all of these that aren't too thin and sit them here, and they will all become bricks. So we will take these 3 as well. These back. Getting messy. Not meaning to get messy, but getting messy. There we go. Put these all back. Put those back up out of the way. One more. Okay, so we will now take these off to the side, and I will set this at, I think this is already, nope. Now, when you're doing these do come with a printed, like a business, like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Official logo from the company that comes on these. And you will need to work around that because it does not take texture very well. So you either need to cut it off and then work from a cleaned surface or something like that. On these, if I come across that, it's not going to matter because I can just make sure that that's the back of the brick and glue it inside, and it's never going to matter. Now, the Proxon is metric, so it makes lining up a millimeter really easy. This wire is set at exactly the center point between these. So I'm going to adjust my fence here again. Hey, I remember the word. I keep forgetting the word fence. I don't know why. And I'm just going to follow that first 1 millimeter line down. I'm going to presume that that's close enough because I'm building for myself. I'm not trying to make everything perfect here. Okay. And now I'm going to cut all of these down to 1 millimeter wide. And after that, I will adjust this down to not 1 millimeter, 1 centimeter wide. And then once I've got a bunch of centimeter strips, I will readjust it down to 5 millimeters and then tilt them on their side and shave them down and turn them into brick sized. And then I'll be able to take them and cut them this way and turn them into actual bricks. So it's not a quick process. It's probably super exciting to watch. Hey, I tuned in to Cross's stream. What do you do? Nothing for like hours. What do you mean nothing? Well, sort of nothing. Now, this is barely more than a centimeter wide. So you need to be careful because you don't want to get your finger too near that. If you have even a millimeter of foam, it should be enough to protect you from it. Here I've got about 3, so no big deal. I'm just going to go ahead and run these down. Now you want to keep these as tight against the fence as possible just for a little bit of regularity. So that's what I'm doing. And if you decide that a strip this long is too long, which I am about to decide, you can always just snap it in half first or cut it in half first and then do the long ways cuts afterwards. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to snap all of these in half and just work from there. Now, notice where my thumb is. That's where I got to be careful and not hit that wire on the way out. So there we go. Now I'm going to take this little strip that's too narrow, stick it off to the side, and now I have a 1 centimeter thick strip, and I'll be able to turn that into other bricks in a minute. For now, I'm putting that there. Now you can, since we're doing this flat against here, you can just take something and press it against that. That'll hold it and steady while you do it. But let me get these all snapped in half first. That one's not going to work for me. We're just going to go ahead and put that one over here. Same with this one. But the rest of these should all be good to go. But they are too long. So I'm going to take all of those. And snap them in half. Okay. Carefully and precisely breaking them wherever they break. This one's almost thick enough I could have gotten another strip out of it, but I'm not even going to bother. I can always use these offcuts for a million other things. So. All right. We've had a couple there, but keep coming and going. That's all good. Let me know if anybody has any questions, comments, telling me I'm doing it all wrong. If you're just along to watch me burn myself and laugh at me, whatever. Yeah. The Discord link should be down there below, I think. If it's not, let me know. But if anybody wants to talk to me about this after the fact, Discord is the easiest way to reach me. I check it all the time. Discord tends to be my social platform of choice lately. I'm thinking of getting a Blue Sky soon, but I haven't quite committed to that. I'm not sure why. I think it's just one more social I'll have to check, and then so I'm kind of reluctant, but I'll get to it. I just haven't done it yet. Huh. Close enough. That one was a little angled up like a trapezoid, so you need to be careful. Make sure to push the top and bottom against the back, against the fence, to get a good clean cut, and I did not on that last one. So these are not going into a brand new city supposed to be looking perfect. All of these bricks are going to be aged. It's going to be a functional city. It's not going to be a ruin or anything. So I just want these to look worn, not old and broken. Ooh. My finger was close to that wire. Looks like the stream's buffering again, and I cannot help that. I am on Wi-Fi down here. I am at the liberty of the capability of my equipment, and I can't do any better than that right now. So I hope you're hearing me. If you're not, apologies. And I hope y'all stick around, but I can't really do anything about it. If the stream completely dies like it did last week, where it just sort of shut off and I end up having to reboot and all of that, I am not going to come back tonight. If it messes up again, I got to try to figure out a piece of technology or something to get the signal down here stronger. I am a prisoner of the warp. That's exactly it. Let's hope it's Slanesh and not Tzeentch. For y'all of those that don't get that Warhammer 40K reference, that's not my fault, and I'm not going to explain it. I know y'all are all adults. I'm guessing y'all are all adults. But I'm not going to explain why Slanesh is better than Tzeentch as far as that goes. Let's just say Tzeentch is angry and Slanesh is lovey-dovey. I will leave it at that. Y'all can figure that out or not. Okay. That is narrower than a centimeter, so I'm going to take that part and cut it off. And we will put that in the little scrappy pile. Yeah. Super exciting stuff. Watch me make bricks and having my YouTube futs out on me at the same time. Actually, not YouTube. YouTube's doing fine. It's my total connection is messed up. Let me know if any of y'all want to know way too much about styrene foam, because I know way too much about styrene foam. I'd done a whole deep dive on that as well one time when I was figuring out what is and isn't styrofoam. It's one of those esoteric things that you either want to know or you don't care at all. I wanted to know. You know, I could make a bunch of 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter tiles. I could go back across this and get some square pieces. I may do that. Or I can always use those same long runners to make 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 2 centimeter bricks. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep it set at this depth and cut a bunch of these lengthwise, because, you know, why not invent new words? Lengthwise. For any of y'all who are really bored watching me do this, I feel your pain. I'm really bored doing this. But it needs doing. I will use every single bit of this foam at some point. I did an estimate one time, and I have probably then, and I've done a bunch since then, I had probably at that point done, by my best guess, 3.2 million individually placed bricks. And that's not including roof tiles and floor tiles, or street surface tiles. But sometimes I get a little bored doing, but then I see the product at the end and I'm like, yes, it was worth it. I always love how the projects turn out. Oh, you're bragging. Damn right. I did good work and I like it. It has come up twice this week that a lot of artists never brag on themselves. They're always like, oh, it's okay. No, if you do art, if you do any art, if you complete a project, if you've halfway finished starting, if you start a project, you've done more than most people. So good on you and brag on yourself. To say one of my favorite quotes ever, like, oh, I like that. That's a good pun. Styro faux. That's funny. That's funny. What was I saying? Brag on yourself. Oh, my quote that I really like from Magneto in one of the X-Men movie. I don't remember which one, but he tells the other mutant, "You're a god amongst the insects. Never let anyone tell you different." And if you have ever started an art project, you're already doing far more than most people ever do. And good on you. Or doesn't have to be art, whatever your project is. Okay, those are all 1 centimeter. Now we will take these and put them out of the way so I don't get them confused. Okay. Now we are going to cut these into 1 millimeter long, 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. I keep saying milli when I mean centi. 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter long square pieces. So more of the same. Change the camera a little for you though. All right. Sorry about the glare, but my hands can be there most of the time. Now these 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter blanks can be turned into either 2 centimeter bricks or 5 millimeter tiles. So, useful thing. And I don't remember which way I cut this. That's one, that's not. Okay. Ooh, that's going to be close. Let's use a different brick to push it so I don't get my thumb on that wire. Because I don't want to burn myself today. Well, ever. And remember, all these little offcuts like this, keep them. They can be used for all sorts of different stuff. Even if you can't figure out what to use them for physically, you can always melt them into, what's the chemical? Acetone. You melt them into acetone and make what's called sprue goo. This is made out of styrene. It's the same thing that gray Games Workshop sprues are made out of. It will melt down into a gooey blob. You can use it as a glue. You can mold with it, whatever. If you do that, definitely use a breather. That's way worse than what I'm doing. Those chemicals, those smells or not smells, fumes are horrible for you. That should be pretty much directly over that wire, so you can see that I'm cutting as it slides under this head. There's a wire that goes down here and comes into this hole right here, and that's cutting all of these little 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter bricks. I keep saying millimeter when I mean centi. Now I said, so I'll be cutting some of these into tiles later. This is just about the right thickness. So once I switch this down to a 0.5 centimeter to 5 millimeters, then I will probably be cutting that down as well. So I'm going to put that right here and keep on trucking. All right, this one needs to be broken in half, so it's easier to work with. Okay. Now we'll use this one as a guide stick. Oops. There we go. Anybody else crafting tonight, or are we just hanging out? That is very strange. Right now it's saying that I have 1.5 viewers. Oh, no, it adjusted itself. I have 3 viewers. Never mind. Welcome, all of you. Glad to have you. If you're new, welcome. Once you've been here, you are now a campaigner. So welcome, campaigners. If you've already been here before, you're already one of us. One of us. I am grateful for all of you. I like having the company. I need to make another graphic. I haven't gotten to it yet. Just like my one where I talk about my Patreon supporters. I need another one for people that have helped in other ways, because I've got one person that sent me a coffee through Buy Me a Coffee one time. My loving life partner, it comes and watches these, and I've got I joke and call her my minion. I've got another person that watches these as well. Sometimes comes over and helps behind the scenes, though things have been strange lately, so she has not been here in a while. So. I should say they. I should get in the habit of saying they on everybody's pronouns, but She goes by she most of the time. So I'm going to leave it at that. This is oddly meditative. At first, when I started cutting, like months and months ago, started cutting, I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. And now I'm just like, yes, peaceful. Oh. The machine actually makes a little mechanical hum inside, or electronic hum, or electrical hum when you run it. And I like to imagine that it's like, that's the tone you use to chant when you're doing the foam. Ooh. Oh my God, this guy's weird. Welcome to the channel. All right. Making good progress. I can tell already that I have moved something because this is not a square. It is what we in the industry call meh, close enough. You gotta say the meh at the beginning. You can't just say it. Meh, close enough. Okay, that should be better. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to be cutting a bunch of these strips, and then I will be cutting these into either bricks or tiles. I don't really need any of the bigger bricks right now. I've got a bunch of those, so these will probably end up being 5mm thick tiles. So they will go on roadways and that sort of thing later. I don't know if y'all remember a while back I posted a picture of a sewer that I'm working on, a sewer prototype to go with my streets and all of that. And this may end up being tiles inside the sewer. Or just surface tiles on like sidewalks and such. For anybody who's ever wondered about getting it precise or does it match real architecture or anything like that, you don't have to worry about that if you're playing a fantasy game, because you can always just say, oh, this is my world, it looks like this. So what are all these tiles going to get used on? Will it look authentic and realistic? I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know the answer to either of those two. I just build and it makes me happy. If any of y'all are builders and want to share your stuff, as I said before, Discord's the best way to reach me, and I would love to see it. I've got places for you to display your things alongside mine or whomever else. So a lot of Discords seem to feel when you go there that like you should only essentially paying homage to the person that runs it, and like their stuff is what is being posted and that's it, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. I want to learn from you, and I want you to learn from me, and I want us all to learn from other people on the board. So whatever you show up and post, awesome. Whatever you show up and look at, awesome. That's probably getting boring. That glare's bothering even me. If someone change that view again. There we go. If I do find my other wire this week, do y'all want me to just go ahead and change it for the future and not worry about it? Or would you like to have me come back next week and show about changing out the wire? I don't really need to do that. Like I said, somebody else just put out a video about that this morning, but I can show any how-tos or how do I do it or how it's done. Most of these are never going to be how-to, because you don't have to do it the way I do. But a lot of stuff I do is how I or how you could. And so if anybody wants to see a specific thing, you let me know and I'll try to hook it up. Go away. Thank you. Anybody else had to do this? Anybody else cut millions of bricks? I bet somebody out there's got the exact same level of, I know what he's doing. So, if anybody gets a chance, if anybody out there is interested in game design and building their own, y'all should really watch Carl Make Stuff's live stream from earlier today. It's already been live. It's over now. But he speaks to Kyle from, I'm going to get this wrong, Dice and Discs, I think. I'm sorry, Kyle. I apologize, Kyle. I do. But I did sub to your channel. It ended up being quite the discussion on nuance to producing and publishing a game. Like game, I mean like tabletop role-playing game or war game. He goes into a lot of the mentality of finding suppliers and artists and editors and all that. It was a very, very good stream. Quite enjoyed it. Now, admittedly, it is exactly up my alley since I'm working on my own game, but it was a very good stream. So if anybody's interested in doing your own, I give that a gander. I can do better than D&D. Yeah, I don't doubt it. You absolutely could. You should go watch that video, and it might might motivate you to put yours out. Looking at this amount of foam over here, I keep thinking to myself, that's going to make a lot of stuff. And then I remember how fast I go through stuff once I start putting it on. I'm like, I should probably cut more. So I'm going to finish out all of these pieces over here in this pile. And then I'm going to start making tiles and bricks. So, I mean, not that I'm not making tiles and bricks, but I mean the final step. Nobody talking tonight. I guess y'all are just enjoying the viewing. It's been a long day. A lot of videos came out this morning and stuff. I've watched a lot of stuff today. So I understand if one more live stream at the end of the night is probably not a way to go. But I'm happy to have y'all here and just tuning in. It makes me feel good that y'all came by this channel. I don't want to jinx it, but my hot wire has been very well behaved tonight. It sometimes is a little wonky, but it seems to be doing its doing tonight. As Kraft Nicks would say, let it do what it do. Now, usually he's talking about glue when he says that, but you get the concept. He hadn't been on in a while. He hadn't put any new videos for a while. That makes me kind of sad. I always worry when a crafter's like really active for a while and then just sort of stops. Now, I can't talk. I did that. I put out like a video a week for 62 weeks in a row and then didn't do squat for 2 years. So I'm not one to talk. But I hope he's doing all right. I hope all of the ones that have come and gone are doing well. Just in case Craftnix ever sees this, I miss you, bro. I miss your builds, and I miss your occasional singing. I miss all of it. Three more. And then I can switch the wire around. The wire knows people are watching. Yes, the wire is very happy. It's like, yes, all attention to me, all eyes upon me. The wire. You shall missed it. That is my Homer Simpson donut voice. It also happens to be my moth looking for light, or looking for lamp voice. Lamp. Somebody one time asked me, how do you do so many voices when you're running a role-playing game? I'm like, I pretty much only do like 4 voices. All the rest are variations on those. Oh, well. Okay. Last one. I'm going to need something to push against this with so I don't burn myself. Here's one of these little strips here. Last one going this direction, then I can adjust the wire thickness, or the gap thickness. Okay. That over there. These over here. Now, I got to do 0.5 millimeter. I am going to do that purely by eyeball. I am not measuring nothing. I say that, and then I reach for the ruler. What are you going to do? Where's my ruler? Huh. I don't know where my tiny metric ruler went. Somewhere. I've got a tiny metric ruler. But apparently I am not going to find it today. Back to eyeballing it. Okay. It'll be about there. That did not show up at all. Okay. That's a master level eyeballing right there, Cross. If you do say don't so yourself. And I do. Is it actually a millimeter? I don't know. Okay. I don't need any bricks, so I'm not setting any of these off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and just stick these over here and start to cut in the other direction. Commence the cutting, as Jed Clampett would say. For any of y'all who don't know who Jed Clampett is, I'm sorry, I'm old. What do you want? I like to get these roughly the same length. You'll see why in a moment. This first end is not going to be straight, so I'm going to take that off clean. This is that part I was saying earlier that I used the original fence for. And that fence is set to just miss that wire when I slide past. And that way I can put these here, and I want several at a time, otherwise they get a little bendy. So I want to take this first batch. Oops, find my foot pedal. Take off that first cut. Now, those are not going to be the right size. Or not, yeah, because those were all crooked and such to begin with. All I was doing is straightening up the end. As you can see now, the end is flat, smooth across here. Now I can take this and I should have a catch bin over there, but I don't know what to use for that. So now when you cut with the wire, they tend to like to stick to each other. So you're going to end up having to bump those off with your finger a lot. And then, excuse me, a lot of this. And what that's going to yield is a bunch of these blanks like this. And these blanks come apart. They're stuck because the heat sort of sealed them together. But those are going to come apart into individual pieces. And what I will do is then put those in a box or plastic jar of rocks and rattle them around until they get textured like old stone tiles. And those will all end up being put down one at a time to make tile surfaces for roads and such. And so I will end up gluing those right back together after I've textured them. But for right now, I'm going to put them all down here. Yes, I should hold my ruler closer. Hold me closer, tiny ruler. Okay, I'm probably going to get a copyright strike for that. A certain gentleman who shall not be named, but he sings that song, is well known for being a bit, maybe not litigious, but not the most forgiving guy. And he lives here in my city, so it would be really easy for him to come find me and tell me to stop singing my stuff. Joke's on him. What I do can hardly be called singing. Yep. Brick, 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 tile, tile, tile. Over and over and over. This is a sort of weird, delicate dance I'm doing here. Each time I pass this, my foot's got to be on the pedal. I've got to push these against the fence. And this fence that I'm using as a guide, I've got to push the other way or it'll hit the wire. So I'm actually pushing toward this with my fingers and away from this with my thumb. And that's allowing me to get this good, clean cut here. And I don't recommend more than 5 to 6 layers like this. Otherwise, they get too unwieldy to hold further out. And so it's just a repetitive process. It is what it is. Now, just to prove you can do it without holding that fence there, I'm going to do a couple like that just because, but I'm probably going right back using that fence. Now, if you don't have the wire set hot enough, and you're having to force against the wire, you can, one, distort the wire so that they don't all come out the same amount. Plus, it can also bend this entire thing wonky right at the end, and you'll end up with every tile being the right width at one side and the other side being wider as it tilts away from the wire. So just got to be careful, have it on a high enough setting and go slow enough to get it cut. See that one? It tried to get away from me. Yeah, I'm going right back using that fence here in a minute. The reason it does that and gets that weird shape to it is the drag of the styrene against the fence, against the fence. It's already getting away from me, so let's go with it. Now, if you are worried about whether or not the wire is perfectly vertical, you can, each time you cut across it, flip your workpiece the other direction. But for these little 1 millimeter tiles, or 5 millimeter tiles, excuse me, I don't think it's worth the effort. Just gonna keep going and going and going. I'm actually going to adjust this so that it is a little farther away from that wire because I keep bumping it into that. So I'm going to untape this. That's such a pain, I'm going to leave it right where it is. That's not worth the effort. I will do that another time. Back to it. Hey, Dungeons and Chronics, what's up, my man? Hope you've been doing okay. I don't think I've seen you put one out this week, and I kind of expected after all your Halloween stuff, maybe you had a Christmas thing. So I didn't know if you were going to do that, but I hope you're doing all right. If y'all have not seen Dungeons and Chronics Halloween stuff, it's really cool. Graveyard with some extra hidden things. There's like a sneaky rat at the back. It's all fun stuff, good stuff. That's funny. Anybody tuning in right now has no idea what I'm doing because I'm completely blocking all these bricks that I'm cutting. That's all right. They'll figure it out in a minute. I'm cutting 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter squares down to a 1/2 centimeter thick to use as floor tiles and street tiles. Now, this last row, I could, if I wanted, get one more slice out of this, but it's just not worth the effort. I've got so many of these, and I can always use these other little pieces for rubble. I'm just setting those off to the side. All right, same deal again. I want to take 4 to 6 that are about the same height, length, and so go ahead and we'll take these 5 and roll with them. Now, set these out here. As before, the one end is not very straight and even, so I'm going to go ahead and lop a section off of that to begin with. And that gives me a nice clean one for the second row. And I'm going to take that first row of pieces, and I'm going to take them and put them over here in my safe pile, my little rubble pile. And those will get used in future projects for other things, as rubble or whatever. All right, have a great night. Thanks again, Hacksaw. Oh, I'm sorry you were sick, man. That's no good, Dungeons and Chronics. I feel bad for you. it's the season for being under the weather. I mean, we're having that weather. So I don't know if it was from that or from something else, but I hope you're feeling better. Yep. So for anybody who's watching this, realize that not all crafting is glamorous. I promise. You see the people do the stuff in like the 1 minute TikToks, and they're like, they start off with nothing and they end up with the whole project by the end of that 1 minute. I guarantee you, it did not take them 1 minute. Because there's a lot of this behind the scenes stuff, and you need all this stuff done before you start. Excuse me, so that once you start and get in the flow, you can just grab the things and use them. You don't want to have to stop in the middle of building your surface in order to go make a bunch of tiles. Better to, or bricks or stones or even trees already made is a good thing if you're doing that kind of stuff. So that is why I tend to build stuff like this ahead by the hundreds or thousands. If you don't want to be building all this stuff yourself, one of these days I've been going round and round with them. Nothing bad, just getting things worked out. I will be having an Amazon page, presence, whatever, where I will be selling some of this stuff already made, like bags of these bricks already made. But that's not a now thing. That's a down the road thing. Yeah, thank you. It does help to plan ahead. It just keeps the flow going when you actually get into the creative part of it. This part's not particularly creative itself, because who knows what these are going to get used for. These are just there to have them, but it's always nice to have them. You never want to have them, need them. It's better to have and not need than need and not have, as the old saying goes. All right, now Hacksaw just left, and I feel a little bad about that, but let me think about this for a second. Just so people know, I do have some Patreons. I like to give thanks to them. These are them. One is Patrick that just left. I've also got Dungeon Matron. That's Lisa. She has a wonderful Discord presence. Lots of stuff going on over there. She's just generally fun. She has a lot of live stuff on her Discord where she will craft like this on camera, and she'll build a lot of good stuff. You should have seen some of her Halloween builds. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. But hers is a right now she's only on Discord. She doesn't. I don't know if she even posts to Insta or anything like that. So if you get a chance, I can. If you go to my Discord, which there should be a link down below. If you go to my Discord and ask me, I can get you a link to her Discord, or you can just search around. You can find links to the Dungeon Matron's Discord in there. And so she's one of my patrons, and she's got her own web presence, but not YouTube and such yet. I'm trying to get her to do it, but I don't know if she'll ever do a YouTube channel. And then there's Digital Calibrator is my other YouTube patron, and I mean Patreon patron, and DC has also come over here and helped me work on my sound and such. If you know, that first week it was kind of funky and wonky, and DC came over and helped me get a bunch of the filters and such done on the mic so that you can hear me better, which hopefully you can hear me better tonight. And I'm sorry, but YouTube, I'm on Wi-Fi, so it's stuttering a bit on YouTube, and I apologize for that. There's not really anything I can do about it. I don't have a way to run 200 feet of Cat 5 down here to my basement yet, but I'm working on that. Anybody just tuning in, welcome, campaigners. And I am making many tiles to use in a project in future. Right this second, I am making 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by ½ centimeter thick tiles. These will all get textured in the same way I texture a lot of my bricks, by either squishing or by putting in a jar with rocks and rattling them around. The rocks tend to give it a really aged and broken in sort of texture. Oops, there's a piece over there. Don't want to do that. And I really like the way it looks. I mean, it's a well-known technique, been used for probably my entire life, of using this foam to style it to look like stone. Okay, I want to grab 5 or 6 more of roughly the same length again, just so they go through the machine easily. As I stated earlier, though some people might not have been here for that, these are all wonky on the ends, so I just take this first pass to get them all smoothed out and even. And then I take those and put those out of the way to use in my rubble. Never throw the stuff out. There's no point. You can always keep it and use it for another project. Plus, keeps it out of the landfills. At least for now. I realize this will all eventually end up somewhere like that, but for now. I got that camera angle pretty good. Last week you couldn't see squat I was doing because my hand was in the way, but this week I seem to have gotten it up higher. And I like more of a angle down this way. It's good stuff. I've got an IT degree and I've worked in movie and film production before, and I'm still just fascinated by the fact, oh, yep, got my camera at a good angle. You'd think that after decades of working with that equipment, I'd be bored with it. But I'm like, no. Got it just the way I want it. It's all good. Better than being bored with it is always being fascinated with it. All good. See, we got a few viewers out there. Anybody crafting tonight, or are you just hanging out and chilling? This is a pretty chill stream. I don't really get too excitable on it. I just kind of hang out and do. When I finally figure out TikTok and get it going, this is definitely going to bring in the views. You know, people will be like, I mean, not TikTok, Twitch. People will be like, ooh, yeah, I'm totally here to watch him cut foam. It'll be the newest sensation. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would watch people cut foam for an hour and a half, but some people, yeah. This might not be their jam. That is okay. Those are kind of piling up. Let me move some of those out the way. Oops. Just messed up my cut. Oh well. Put that in the rubble pile. Never throw it out. Okay. again. I seem to have mangled these last two here on the end, so let's move them here, put those here, and keep on going. Never need to get frustrated over this stuff. There's always a chance to do it again. Ooh, cleaning. Cleaning is good. We like cleaning. I did a little organizing right beforehand. I came down here expecting my desk to be clean, and I had stuff everywhere. I put it in several different places. I still need to sweep, but yeah, cleaning is good. Cleaning is a project all its own and with its own rewards. Now they say a tidy desk is a sign of a clean what is it? A clean desk is a sign of a dirty mind. But I find people that I see like all the magazine pictures for like houses and such, and they're like perfect, pristine, white, beautiful, with like everything in a cabinet, and it's just literally it's like white walls and all of that, and maybe a gray throw rug on it. I'm just like, that's really boring. I mean, I don't want clutter everywhere. I mean, the wall behind me is a little much, but I think it tends to lend itself to a level of creativity or ease with the world. But I don't mind it being cluttered up a bit, but I don't want it dirty. I don't want it ooky. So cleaning is good. We like cleaning. All right, we've reached the end of that batch. Let's take those, slide them into the rubble pile. Start to 5 or 6 about the same length. And keep on trucking. All right, looks like I got about 5 minutes left. I sometimes tend to go a little bit over, but tonight I think I'm going to call it at 8:30 or close enough to when I remember, because, well, even I know this is not the most exciting hour and a half of viewing on YouTube. But I like to think I keep y'all entertained. I know I can keep up a running dialogue talking. I sometimes forget to check the messages that you people are putting up for me in the window there. And I apologize if I missed anybody, but I hope that I can keep crafting at least a little bit entertaining while y'all are viewing. Again, big thanks to my patrons. Big thanks to my other behind-the-scenes helpers. I do have a Patreon. I do have a Buy Me a Coffee. But really, the best way to reach me, the best way to get a hold of me is my Discord. There should be a link down below. If there's not, I'll put it in shortly after the video pops up on, after the live stream. After YouTube processes it and does all the things. Hopefully, soon I will be doing YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I'm trying to get that worked out, but the problem, it's a me problem. There's nothing wrong with my technology. I'm just trying to figure it out. Once I do that, I'll be in both places. A lot of people have stream rewards, like things that pop up and they call them all sorts of nicknames and such. I plan on having that, but I don't know what to call mine. I call all of y'all campaigners, and my thing's campaign terrain, but I don't know what to have. Like one guy, he's from Australia, and he always does Tim Tam Slam with the Tim Tam, so his channel rewards are called Tim Tams. I know somebody else that their joke is that something about their name has the word brick in it, and so one of their things is shiny bricks. That's their reward, but I don't know what to call mine. So, but that's not a today problem. That's a once I get stream working, or my Twitch stream working. I actually do know what I'm doing right after this. I'm a little hungry. I'll probably go make myself some dinner and get moving on that. But for right now, I got about 4 minutes left, and it's going to be more of the same. I'm just cutting and cutting. Anybody has any last minute questions? Now is the last minute, or last 4 minutes. All right, I should just about finish this strip, and then I'm gonna call it an evening. I messed up one of those, but it'll live. Here's a bunch of tiles, and I am going to be texturing those later. I'm going to go finish up cutting these other ones over here, but that's probably not tonight. I think I'm getting hungry enough to go eat. So I think I'm going to ring off for the evening, and I love y'all. I'm glad y'all came by. Thank you for coming. This has been Campaign Terrain. As ever, I am your host, Cross, and I am that guy, Cross, and I'm your resident basement dweller. I thank you for coming, and I wish you all the best of an evening. Have a good one.